Since we saw Rico last time, since the debacle of San Esperito, he's been doing a lot of weird stuff for the agency, and his luck has just run out now. He's down and out. He's down on his luck. He doesn't have any money left. He doesn't have any belief left at all, and he's just a burnt out old agency agent slumming around South America looking for the next shot of tequila and a loose woman. In the beginning of the game, there's a shitload of bad hombres that want to kill him, and he fights them off easily, you know, with his background and training, but before he smashes to the ground and gets killed by his own sort of extravagant and extraordinary ways, he gets saved by Maria Kane, who's an agency operative. What happens is that she tells him that Tom Sheldon, his old CEO, that was one of the more prominent characters of Just Cause 1, he has disappeared in Southeast Asia, in the Malay archipelago. And with him 2 million of agency cash, and they think that he might have gone rogue, which is pretty much the worst thing that you can do, being a veteran agent like Tom Sheldon, because he has to shit on pretty much everyone. Rico realizes they have the thumbscrews on him, and he realizes that he has to help them out, and also he needs to know what happened to his old friend, partner, and CEO. So he goes to Panau, which is a little dictatorship slash sort of new republic kind of a thing going in the Malay archipelago, which is ruled by this crazy little dictator guy called Baby Panay, who's the son, of course, of Papa Panay, whom he incidentally killed, or so we think, and took the presidency from him. Rico goes there and he tries to seek out Tom Sheldon, and one thing leads to another. He has to work as a sort of a freelancing hitman for the different criminal factions on the island. The only person that he knows on the island is a sleeper agent called Carl Blaine, which Peter mentioned before. And Carl Blaine he's a wonderful character. He's like a mix of every bad Swede you've ever met. And by bad, I don't mean badass. I mean just a bad, rotten egg. Somebody who drinks too much, and when he's abroad, he behaves badly. And somebody who we all should be ashamed of, but who we feel we have a soft spot for in our hearts. He works for this charity organization called, it's a maternal charity organization called Mothers for Fruit for Life. So it's a relief fund, more or less, and they work in Panau to help the mothers get fruit for life. Okay? What he's doing is he's actually spending all of this money from the different welfare funds and collection aid things that have been going on in Scandinavia. As we know, we give a lot of money, blah, 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 blah. We're so good. And what happens is that Carl Blaine spends it all on whores and booze and drugs. And when Rico meets him, he's spending the last Swedish dime in the casino. We can see in the background here. When we meet him, he's in a bad way. He's really, really drunk and messed up, and he's shooting some government officials trying to get away from their clutches because they realize that he's a sleeper agent. And this is pretty much all I'm going to tell you about that. There's 3 different factions in Just Cause 2. In Just Cause 1 there were 2 different factions. This time around you can play with all of them. These 3 factions are the Reapers, which are sort of weird communists, guerrillas slash gangsters. They're sort of reminiscent of like if Viet Cong would have also been criminals. The other criminal organization is the Roaches, and they're these urban, slick city mobster type gangsters with silk suits and high pompadour hair, that kind of thing. And the third one is the indigenous people of Panau, called the Ulars, and they call themselves the Ular Boys. And the Ulars are they're really creepy. Just a couple of generations ago they used to eat their enemies, but now maybe they just take their heads. So these are the 3 sort of pawns he has to work with in order to get where he wants to go in the game. This time around we were inspired more by like Cold War spy stories and that kind of thing, and especially we found a great interest in like what the CIA have been up to, and obviously the agency are based on similar organization. We found a lot of fascination with these sort of moral gray areas that you can play around with, and I personally think that the player today is ready to not have to make a standpoint whether it's good or bad, the things that you're doing on stage. I meant in the game. the things that you're doing in the game, you can take on the role as Rico Rodriguez. You don't necessarily have to agree with everything that he does. And this is the same kind of feel that you would get from these old Cold War spy novels and movies and that kind of thing. And also personally, the choice of locale for the game, I was personally very inspired by Joseph Conrad.